I'm doing the thing again if you're a returning viewer, and you probably knew this video was coming. But if you're new, first off, welcome to Space Cowboy Media. Number two, I'm not a fan of Stephen Jones, I'm not a fan of Jerry, and more specifically, Stephen Jones, because of recent comments he had regarding the Dallas Cowboys not acquiring Von Miller, and knowing the impact he had on that Buffalo defense to open up the year. It's starting to look like a situation where the Cowboys really missed out on having a good play. Now, again, it is week one. I'm not trying to sit here and say that the guy's going to be an MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, or anything like that, because we do have Micah, and, you know, I get that whole point to what people are trying to say there. But for those that keep coming back, first off, thank you for that. And I know some of you are like, Space Cowboy, can you just leave these men alone? You know, like, at the end of the day, you know, we understand there's only so much pie to go around. We understand, like, all this stuff. Why can't you just be a good fan and stop complaining? Why can't you be a good fan and just ride with the team and just stop being negative, you know? I just don't understand why you keep complaining. Why do you keep complaining, you know? Listen, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I know some of you get irritated with me keep talking about Steven and Jerry, but the fact of the matter is that we are talking about the Dallas Cowboys, and that's unfortunately part of the Cowboys. Their front office loves being talked about, and more importantly, we're talking about them again. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and comment down below what you think. Okay. The reason I'm a bit more upbeat in this video is because I've never seen something quite like this. And for context, what did Stephen Jones say that really grinded my gears? So, according to Mark Lane, he put out a tweet where he basically spoke on what exactly happened in the 105.3 The Fan interview. He said the following: Cowboy Stephen Jones tells us that there's a school of thought that when you bring in a veteran like Von Miller, you're doing it more so for a playoff run, not for an entire season. Let me just reiterate for that. There's a school of thought that when you bring in a veteran like Von Miller, you're doing it more so for a playoff run, not an entire season. You know, that's interesting, because Stephen Jones, when the 2021 season was going on, am I wrong, or were the Dallas Cowboys in the midst of a playoff push or a playoff run? Am I wrong? No, seriously, like, just tell me. Am I wrong? Last time I checked, we were in a fight for being the number one seed in the NFC. We got a home playoff game. I think I remember we had that. I don't know. I mean, like, I last time I checked, I don't think we were having a... Oh, yeah, that's right, we were. And the fact of the matter is that, you know, like, you say that talent acquisition is 24/7, 365. Am I wrong? Has Stephen Jones not said that? We've also heard that, you know, we're trying to do what we can to win. Pie, you know, that whole thing. Here's my thing. If that's the case, right, why did you not trade for him last season? You know, they said, oh, we were in discussions, this, that, and a third. Now, there has been a report that leaked in mid-July, in the August, where the Cowboys apparently offered Von Miller the same contract Randy Gregory did. Now, me personally, I'm okay. Like, you know, people have told me, oh, Space, it's not the same contract. Technically, yes, it's not the same contract. There were more guarantees. I get that, right? And like, this is the problem, is, like, the specifics, right? Like, if Von's like, I'll take less, but not a whole lot less, like, we don't know how much he's referring to. Maybe he's just saying that, but whatever the case may be, you had a guy that wanted to come to Dallas. You know, he's from the area, more or less. He's been a fan growing up. And you can't muster any of that money when you were planning on giving around $14 million. And screw that. Let's just talk about the cap hit. Fuck the guarantees. Fuck everything else. Let's keep this in mind. With the guarantee, or excuse me, with the contract, if you look at the cap hits, if you look at, when you look at that, the cap hit for Von Miller in the 3 years where it's like he's under contract before like you can cut him, it's literally only $5 to $6 million more in a cap hit, right? And like, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. If Von Miller was the only guy we signed, I would have been A-okay. I would have had no problem with that, because listen, hindsight is 20/20. I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. We did not know what like I said. Hey, listen, you know, maybe missing out on Von Miller wasn't as bad, but at the same time, I felt like, okay, you know, a Von Miller at this stage in his career is around the same level you're gonna get out of Randy Gregory, and so, like, what's wrong with adding a guy if you're trying to push your chips all in, right? And then you do all this, and now you're saying, okay, we don't get a player of that caliber unless you're going on a playoff run. Then why in the hell did you not do it last season? Oh, it's because we can't get, you know, they asked for too much. You know, we're going to look up this as I'm recording this, right? I completely forgot. What did the Rams give up for Von Miller, right? Let's do some research, my friends. Let's see. Their second and third round pick. Oh, you mean to tell me the second and third round pick that's apparently going to be inactive? That's interesting. So, I'm not saying that the Dallas Cowboys, right, would have traded those exact assets, but think for 1 minute. The Rams traded a second and third round pick for Von Miller in the 2022 draft. If the Cowboys were looking to do that, I understand some people having their doubts, right? But you have two guys that are in the bottom tier of the depth chart. It's not like they're starting. It's not like they're getting backup play. They're fucking inactive. And you know, I'm trying to be as lighthearted as possible because I think this is hilarious. Because we here in Cowboy Land always hear the importance of drafting. We hear the importance of, oh, we want to have our homegrown talent. But here's my problem. Shouldn't it be that the homegrown talent that you took in the draft, that you put all these expectations on, be starting or playing some meaningful, not even meaningful, but playing some snaps? Oh, no? Well, we here in Cowboy Land have now exposed Stephen Jones for literally talking out of his ass. You say that we are always trying to upgrade our roster, but we don't do anything in free agency. Okay, so do you trade for anybody? Oh, no? Only when, like, we look like complete shit and we have to do something because it feels as if we're going to lose money? Oh, what's that? You want to tout about, oh, well, we couldn't keep Randy, but if we had kept Randy, then we wouldn't have been able to get Dante Fowler and bring back Armstrong, who are starting or playing snaps over the guy you drafted in the second round because you want to prove that the fucking investments you made with those guys were correct, even though they're mid. You see what I'm trying to get at here? And I know I'm trying to be a bit more upbeat with this because I've already expressed my frustrations. But again, to go back to the central point of this entire video, an entire point of my diatribes against the Jones family. I do not care for the goddamn cap. I do not care who the hell you draft. All that I care about is, are you doing the utmost that you can do to put a championship level team on your football field? And the fact is that you, sir, are not. You refuse to, well, let's start from the beginning. You draft players because you key in on the draft. You then decide, when you have the players that you don't want to pay because they aren't good, then you let them go. That's cool with me. But the players you want to retain, you go through an absolute painstaking negotiation process, when if you liked that player, you could have easily have re-signed said player at a cheaper deal to prevent this problem. Then when the star player comes available, and this is the key thing, you want to play hardball because you think you're the smartest guy in the room. Then you complain about how much money they're making because your bitch ass decided, hey, you know what? I really don't think you're worth this much money. Rather, I think you're worth this much money, which is nearly half of the net worth that I think you are worth as a player. And then you wonder why no one takes a hometown discount. And as fans, more specifically the 80%, and by the way, I'm not the only person that mentions 80%, shout out to Simon Says and many others that mention the 80 versus 20%. 80% of our fan base will be, well, Space Cowboy. You know, I don't understand why you can say these things. The cap is so important. You know, this person's making so much money. If only this person took... Let me ask you something, right? Why would a player take a hometown discount when the team itself refuses to go out into free agency and add quality talent, or even bring back said talent? Please enlighten me in the comments. No, please, I'm not, listen, I'm not trying to be sarcastic. Please tell me why. Because if at the end of the day, we as an organization cannot add supplemental talent to the stuff we lost, you are playing an uphill battle game that you will never win. Unless you are the luckiest son of a bitch on the planet. And I know that many of you are sick and tired of me saying this, and this is probably the most interconnected conversation I've had, because I never try to be negative, okay? And this is just a little side tangent here. My problem is, and I think that some of you might resonate with this, is that if we as a team can get better, have the assets to get better, right? Like, why is it that we're not doing that? Like, honest to God question. Like, there were moves the Cowboys have made in years past, like getting a Robert Quinn for a cheap contract and that paying out. Oh, you sign all these cheap guys that come into your system and it works. That's a positive. I'm not going to sit here and act like everything they do is a negative. However, and this is the key thing that, dear viewer, I hope you understand after this video, is that that doesn't work all the time. There are other aspects that you have to do to compete with other franchises that are competing for the exact same goal as you, right? So if, as a fan, you're sitting here and looking at the, well, let's talk about other teams other than the Rams, because we kind of understand the Rams and what they do. The Chargers going out and making moves, getting a Khalil Mack, signing these guys, and this, that, and the third. You have the Raiders getting a Devontae Adams and adding a couple guys. You have the Broncos go get a quarterback to help compete with that roster. So that's the AFC West for you. You have your rival in the Philadelphia Eagles, who aren't afraid to go sign certain free agents. Not going willy-nilly, but actually signing and trading assets to make their team better, because they think this guy as an established player is better than what I can get with my first round pick or however many picks, right? Then you look and you would observe internally, okay? All right, guys, what are our primary issues right now? Okay, we don't know what our receiving core looks like. Our offensive line has a hell of a lot of question marks. We have a defense that I feel real good about, but maybe the defensive tackle / run defense could use a little bit of work. I have concerns that maybe, just maybe, if God forbid something happens to one of my linebackers, that my defense could turn into Swiss cheese. And I'm not saying you're going to solve every problem. And, you know, obviously as a team, you want to try and get it as close as you can. But what did you do to fix those problems? Like, other teams have issues. Hey, we need a quarterback. Hey, we need defensive ends. Hey, we need this and that and the third. You got backups. And you drafted guys that are backups. Right? Well, besides your first-round pick, who kind of was able to shoe in to be a starter due to injury based off of the conversations that we're hearing from the coaching staff. But again, I get it. They're rookies. I'm not asking for them to be all pros in their first goddamn year. But you know who is? The Jones family. Stephen Jones literally came out, and I just did a video on this about the inactive stuff. You are asking for these guys to come in and be exactly what you had beforehand. You can't do that. That is an unrealistic expectation. And you ingrain this into the minds of your fans, because if they fail, then guess what? It's not on you, the general manager, aka Jerry and Steven, that, hey, maybe you fucked up on a pick. But more so, you more rather, maybe just maybe, and I'm being real here, maybe just maybe, rather than you just fucking up on a pick, maybe you could have picked someone else or traded that pick. And listen, the coaching staff has some of that too. Like Dan Quinn, listen, if you feel comfortable with a guy, cool. I'm not trying to sit here and say that you don't, it's a whole effort, right? Your scouting department will tell you these are the players we think are good. Your coaching staff will say, I think this player will work well here, here, and here. And then on top of that, you will have your front office be like, well, I think we should do this. And here's the biggest thing, and I want to make this super, 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 super clear. You know how we were talking about best player available? Right? Like, best player available in the McCarthy era. This was the first draft where I can honestly say we drafted off of need other than best player available. Now, what has happened when you drafted best player available? CeeDee Lamb, Trevon frickin' Diggs, Neville Gallimore, right? And then you go into the 2021 class, you got Micah frickin' Parsons, bruh. Like, you need to understand that going best player available is the strategy. And I'm worried that, listen, if these guys pan out, awesome. If they don't, that is going to be one of the biggest red flags I've ever seen from this organization, because you drafted based off need when there were plenty of other players that are arguably better at this point in time. And I'm not going to sit here and say X player is better than this and this, that, and third, because we haven't seen our guys play. If they play and they prove me wrong, I will be eating crow as much as I can. So look, to end this entire soliloquy that I have here, Steven, we caught you in your lying act. We know exactly what you're doing. You're just saying shit so that you could just get away with anything, and the fans just eat it up. So look, guys, I'm not gonna leave you with anything else other than, are you surprised? So, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you reached the end of this long diatribe, thank you so much. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, hit that notification bell, and most importantly, leave your thoughts down below. And by all means, share it with your friends. Alright guys, I will see you guys in the next one. Have a good one.